Hello everyone, hope you are well. Before I continue, I want to tell everyone, I'm probably sure a lot of people have already heard about it. Derek Underwood, I mean the legendary English spinner, died yesterday. It was in the newspaper today as well, so sad news for cricket. All I have to say is thank you for all the memories and rest in peace, Derek Underwood. I'm sure Josh Butler, I'm quite certain that he will probably be, not probably, be wearing a black armband in respect to Derek Underwood, probably the other players as well, but I'm not sure about that. At least I thought I will give you today, I mean, another leg spinner who was a legendary leg spinner for Pakistan, Abdul Qadir. He was born 15th September 1955 in Lahore in Pakistan, and he was the greatest leg spinner in the 1980s and the late 1970s. He is the one who kept the art of leg spin alive in the 70s and the 80s, and he was the big leg spinner after Richie Benaud and before Shane Warne. He's the one who occupied that position in the 70s, 80s, and he was an amazing leg spinner. I mean, his googly was very famous. He had probably the best googly that I've ever seen. Even Mustaq Ahmad, I mean, who's also a Pakistani, had a very good googly, but Abdul Qadir had an absolutely beautiful googly, which was much better than Shane Warne as well. I mean, Shane Warne's googly was never his biggest weapon. The flipper and the leg breaks were the biggest balls. So his googly, Abdul Qadir, was very famous. And his career statistics, he played 67 test matches for Pakistan and he took 236 wickets with 15 5-wicket hauls and 5 10-wicket hauls, which is a lot. And in one-day internationals, he played 104 one-day matches and he took 132 wickets with 2 5-wicket hauls. And in first-class cricket, he took 960 wickets with 75 5-wicket hauls and 21 10-wicket hauls. So Abdul Qadir taking a lot of wickets. And in that 1987 World Cup Group B matches, he was voted as the best player of that group, and he actually won a car, but he donated it to Imran Khan for his cancer hospital and the research center that he had for the Cancer Institute. Good thing that Abdul Qadir did in 1987. And in 1987, he had an amazing test series against England. He took 30 wickets in 3 test matches against England, and he recorded the best ever bowling figures for a Pakistani bowler, which was 9 for 56 at Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore, against England in that same series in 1987. That is the best bowling figures till now for a Pakistani bowler, 9 for 56. And he was very well known for his googly, and he really used to fly the ball a lot. I mean, Shane Warne obviously used to fly the ball, but Abdul Qadir is someone that I remember who really used to give it a nice loop and really flight at the ball. He was like a classical leg spinner. And in 1982-83 against Australia, he in the first 2 test matches, he took a lot of wickets and he was the man of the match. He won back-to-back man of the match awards. And he also won the Man of the Series award in that series as well. And Shane Warne, I mean the great legendary Shane Warne, when Abdul Qadir sadly died, when he died in 2019, when he died, Shane Warne said that it was obviously very sad news, and he said that he had the opportunity to meet Abdul Qadir in 1994 on his first tour of Pakistan, and that every leg spinner, everyone who bowled leg spin like Shane Warne, used to look up to Abdul Qadir in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, and that he was the great leg spinner of his era. And Shane once said that Abdul Qadir was a terrific bowler and that he had bamboozled a lot of batsmen in his time, and that he had learned a lot from Abdul Qadir as well. And Abdul Qadir was also included in Richie Benaud's greatest 11 that he picked once. So that is another stunning achievement for Abdul Qadir. And Imran Khan, the great Pakistani captain, the leader, he also once said about Abdul Qadir that Abdul Qadir was an absolute genius. And he also said that the statistics of Abdul Qadir doesn't do justice to his genius, that he could have achieved more than his statistics shows. But everyone knew, I mean, he was an amazing bowler, and he really gave trouble to a lot of batsmen, especially the English batsmen who really had trouble with him. Actually, Graham Gooch said that he thought that Abdul Qadir was better than Shane Warne. I don't think that is true, and I would definitely not agree that Abdul Qadir was better than Shane Warne. I mean, in his era, he was definitely the best leg spinner, and even Shane Warne looked up to him. But Shane Warne obviously was in a league of his own, and but Abdul Qadir's googly, I can definitely say, was better than Shane Warne's googly. I've seen many times him beating the batsman and getting them LBW ball with his leg spinners, and probably that is something Mustaq Ahmad also picked up from Abdul Qadir. Mustaq Ahmad also had excellent googly. Abdul Qadir, I mean, he was also a commentator after his retirement, and he also served as the chief selector of the Pakistan Cricket Board. But he did have issues with the Pakistani Cricket Board, and he actually resigned from his job. And I'm sure a lot of people would remember, I mean, in the late 80s, that is kind of how Abdul Qadir's career came to an end. I'm not saying that is the reason, but he was almost towards the end of his career. But he was really taken apart by Sachin Tendulkar in 1989. I mean, that series everyone will all remember. People who watched cricket in those times when Tendulkar was only 16 years old. It was actually a one-day match that was cancelled because of rain. I think it was actually cancelled. But I have watched it live when I was young. I think it was rain. I mean, the match was kind of cancelled, and then suddenly they played a 20-over exhibition match, and Tendulkar really took Abdul Qadir apart, and he actually hit Abdul Qadir for 4 sixes and 1 4 in 1 over. I mean, he actually scored 28 runs of Abdul Qadir. I remember Abdul Qadir was flighting the ball, and Tendulkar was just coming down the track and just smashing him over for six. And Abdul Qadir kept on flighting the ball, and Tendulkar kept on hitting him for sixes. And that is the day that Tendulkar really announced himself on the international scene. I mean, that test series he had actually against Waka Yunus, also after getting hit and bleeding, he did play that innings to draw the match for India. But Tendulkar really announced himself on that day when he took apart a great legendary genius like Abdul Qadir for 28 runs, including 4 sixes. But Abdul Qadir, I mean, was really well known. I mean, in the 70s, 80s, I mean, he is the one who kept the leg spin art alive because there weren't a lot of spinners. I mean, B.S. Chandrasekhar of India was there obviously in the 60s, 70s, but B.S. Chandrasekhar was not a conventional leg spinner who was like a fast leg spinner in the Indian spin coded. But Abdul Qadir was like the classical leg spinner, and he had a very unique action as well. I mean, people who have watched Abdul Qadir will probably remember Abdul Qadir's action. And one thing that I can say about Abdul Qadir was that, I mean, obviously he was extremely talented as a bowler leg spinner, and he was very aggressive as well, and he was extremely passionate about the game of cricket. I mean, he gave his best every time he played, and he was a match winner obviously with his leg spinners, and he was a real character. And sometimes he got into trouble as well because of his the way he was and his aggression. But he was an amazing leg spinner who really troubled a lot of batsmen in the late 70s and 80s, taking a lot of wickets. And again, I'm the googly, and I'm in the top spin leg, the flippers. He had all the different, and he actually had like two kinds of googlies as well. By the way, I mean, not like a single googly which really troubled batsmen, and he really used to flight it up, and so a lot of batsmen would think, I mean, it's like a normal leg break, and I've seen many batsmen, I mean, get on the back foot and then get LBW and bowl with his googlies. So that is my video on Abdul Qadir, who was one of the greatest leg spinners of all time, and definitely the greatest leg spinner in that late 70s and early 80s after Richie Benaud and before Shane Warne came, and even someone who actually inspired the great Shane Warne a lot. So that is my video on the legendary Pakistani leg spinner. I hope you enjoyed this video, and once more I just want to say rest in peace to Derek Underwood, the greatest spinner that England have ever produced. Everyone, please take care, and God bless you.